How musicians could profit from copyleft. Few people intuitively understand copyleft. Especially in all peripheral parts of the software development industry, people are painfully unaware. But more importantly, I seldom see someone showing a deep understanding of copyleft. But copyleft, despite many now disagreeing, makes the world go round. It eats the world, as a loaded, bald-headed white man would say. So why is it that the ideas of copyleft and, more importantly, its sound understanding is lacking in so many knowledge work-based and creative industries? In the following article, I want to outline the importance of copyleft licensing in the software development industry. I'll purposefully conflate the ideas of copyleft licensing with other, higher-level, open-source software principles too. I'll do that intentionally to paint a decisive picture for everyone working outside my industry towards a better understanding of copyleft, for example, in the music industry. Please sample my code. Contrary to, for example, musicians, software developers happily upload their painstakingly created code to public platforms. Consider this. Software developers are among the best-paid knowledge workers globally. In places like Silicon Valley, they take home unheard-of paychecks and equity. Still, if you know one, you're likely aware that on some Saturdays and Sundays, they'll cancel your brunch dates to instead sit in front of their computer just to fix this one bug in their open-source library. If we were to put a nominal value on the amount of free work being pushed online to GitHub, if we summed up all the accumulated hours of software developers dwelling on code in their undies on the weekend, just to give it away for free, every business person and their assistants would be losing their minds. It's anarchy. How can they do that? Aren't they afraid of someone stealing their work? But that's where I think it is important to understand that coming from another industry, for example, music, how software developers think when shipping open-source code has to be considered vastly different from, for example, musicians. While Kanye et al. May go complete batshit about seeing their work sampled without prior legal agreement and moral attribution, as a software engineer working under the principles of copyleft, my highest goal is developing a sample and then promoting it such that everyone uses it. Software, being, fortunately, a rather recently developed art, gladly had genius contributors like Linus Torvalds, Richard Stallman, and others who made sure that attribution, Git and package managers, licensing, for example GPL, and free speech are built into the free, as in Libre, software production stack. In open-source software development, developers want their code to be sampled, or referenced, as broadly as possible. It furthers their brand and credibility. It's their default as proper attribution is always given. So it happens that when engineers write code for free and everyone uses it, a rather direct incentive comes into play. They are invited to join higher-paid or higher-status jobs. They earn more money, are more popular, and sometimes they even have to work less. Open-source software developers like MXSTBR, the creator of the React boilerplate, have made a professional career out of a single significant open-source contribution. That guy wrote code that 1% of the World Wide Web now uses, and he probably never made a penny directly from that React boilerplate OSS. Brand building and copyleft are better than copyright. Sure, particularly business types in the software industry may now say that with open-source software, a company cannot sustain its business. They'll enumerate countless examples where OSS hasn't worked out. Or they'll list the numerous instances where software is exclusively reserved under copyright laws and generates shittons of cash. And it's probably true. More money is directly made from exclusively copyrighted software. But for me, as an individual, I have particular aims for my career, those being the freedom to explore my curiosity while still making a good salary, building a brand and contributing to the global catalog of OSS works well. Moreover, I know for a fact, though, that there are many others like me profiting from their work being openly accessible. After all, the world runs on open-source software in 2022. There's no app, no website, phone, or car that isn't using the undies-generated free code. As much as you cannot escape technology's accelerationism, for sure, you won't be able to run from having to use open-source software. Today, writing open-source software and building an online brand is a well-paid and prosperous career any engineer should consider. OSS is speech, and speech doesn't have a price. For artists, like musicians, whose work is also often speech, their work, too, should have no price, and they should be paid like software engineers. So we should work towards making that happen.